You're listening to the Orange Power Podcast, a product of Oklahoma State Athletics.
Glad to have you along, and what a weekend last weekend was for Cowboy baseball. A 3-game series sweep at Texas, and of course the exclamation point being a rally from a 7-0 deficit in the series finale on Sunday with a 10-run seventh and a 10-8 series-ending victory and a 3-game sweep over a top 10 Texas team. And every Oklahoma State fan has relived that multiple times this week with good reason, as have I. But as you think about what that series, how that series went, all that went into it, and what it means to the big picture in terms of what it says about your team and what it means for the future, what do you think? What runs through your mind?
Well, I think the thing that runs through my mind about last week in particular was the fact that we played 4 games on the road. The Tuesday game in Wichita, obviously played them for a third time. Good victory there. Come home late Tuesday night, load the bus Wednesday night, and go halfway to Austin, wake up Thursday, take the trip in and practice, and then come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, compete at such a high level, and then bus home to come back for exams. It's just the way our players took on all that travel and those challenges head on and did it with such confidence and did it in such a team-oriented fashion. It was really awesome to see. We got contributions from so many players across the roster, both on the mound and obviously on the field. It's just a tremendous example of what these guys are capable of. And I think my biggest takeaway from it is they can draw different ways to win games, whether it's a close back and forth on a Friday night, a dominant Saturday where we just played tremendous baseball, or a Sunday where everything that could have gone wrong did for 7 innings can be flipped and turned around by just staying with it and putting together a magical inning like they did. Just a lot of really good moments in time that these guys now have experienced that they know now moving forward. They always have the ability to do that. Are you going to score 10 in the 7th on the road against a team like Texas very often? No, probably not. But they did it at least once, and that was enough to let them know you're never out of a game no matter what the circumstances. And what does that do for the team in the big picture? I would say they took a challenging week on, head on, four road games, and they handled it as good as you could have ever asked them to handle it. And they put themselves in position now to come back home and take exams and then get ready to flip the switch and take on a new challenge. But when you do what those guys did last week, you extend the potential of something special being in your future. And if you don't do that over the course of the season, then those special opportunities later are more difficult to create. So they kept the window open of what the potential of this team can be, and kept us, right there front and center at the top of our league, which is a very competitive top of our league right now.
Yeah, you talked about the confidence, but you've had so many young players that have been prominent throughout the course of the year, but played big roles in the weekend, as well as a number of your big wins. But I think about Earhart, Reggio. Ian Doherty has been catching more regularly now, getting more starting opportunities. Bay has a big performance on Friday night. What is it about things from a cultural standpoint and about those players individually that has allowed them to play with so much confidence and be so successful when in many cases that might not happen in a first season?
Yeah, and the other two you could mention too are Marcus Brown and Nolan Mclean, because Marcus is a guy in his second year who played the last 10 games last year, and Nolan in his second year, although he started from day one, only got to play about 25 or 30 games last year before his back injury. So those two guys as sophomores, the 3 freshmen you mentioned who've had a lot of opportunities. You mentioned John Bay, a redshirt freshman, contributing. That younger group of players to go along with the veterans, guys like Griffin and Jake and some of these older guys that kind of provide that stability piece for our team. It's just a good mix, and they protect each other in terms of showing up every day and playing hard. They make sure that they're ready every day, which I really like about them. I think what's allowed some of the first-year kids to do so well, or at least compete comfortably, is the way they're treated by their teammates. They're welcomed in. It's something we talk about. It's something that has been going on here for a long, long time, dating back to the 80s, where guys could come to Oklahoma State baseball and find a home right away, find the doors were wide open to them and welcomed them in, and it gave guys a chance to kind of be themselves. We want kids to be themselves. while our discipline and our team, covenants are strict and clear when it comes to school and behavior and all those things, being yourself is it's a very encouraged, wide open area for these guys to come in and let their passion come out, let their personalities come out, let their love for the game come out, and make those the shared values that they find they all have together on the field. So a guy like Rock who plays with some spunk, some confidence, some swagger. A guy like Zach Earhart, just a classic throwback, hard-nosed ball player. A guy like Ian Doherty, who's a good young catcher. Toughness, intelligence, all those things you want out of a catcher. You combine that with some of the other characters of our team. They're fun, and they're a good mix because you need all different mindsets and types for a team to really gel and for a team to be able to handle different challenges. Can't get through a season if everybody's wired the same, right? You need some guys that are fearless and at times a little bit not afraid to step out on their own. And then you need some guys that just hold down the fort every single day that you can constantly count on to be those rocks that just do the dirty work for you, right? The fundamentals, the constants. So the team has all those different pieces, which I like about them, and I think that's how you go on the road. I think that's how you welcome in newcomers. It's how you embrace one another and play as a team, even though one guy might be 24 and one guy might be 18, right? That's the beauty of kind of where we're at right now with college sports is you might come across a teammate in today's day and age that you used to never get a chance to meet because we just wouldn't all be here at the same time.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You hit 9 home runs in this series at Texas, and we talked about what happened on Sunday. But a lineup is an interesting thing. You see a box score, you watch a game, you see the end result, you see the names all written in, or if you look at the computer, you're looking at the screen, you see what the lineup is. But all of the pieces come together to help that lineup function. And Griffin Doersching was out for about a month. It seems like since he's come back, not just because of what he's done, but perhaps how that's impacted the whole lineup structure, that's had an impact on your offense. Again, don't want to cite him out individually, but how important was that? Not just his production, but his presence and what it did for the entire lineup in terms of what you could get done on a nightly, daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, Griff's he's a presence. He's a threat. When he steps in the box, there's some anxiety across the way. If the pitch doesn't get thrown in the right spot, it's going to get hit hard. And if it gets thrown for him in a spot he can elevate and he hits it hard, it's a home run. He lets you score in bunches. His home runs have typically been 2-run, 3-run grand slam type chunks of runs. I think the ability for us to be able to stagger our lineup right, left, virtually from the 1 hole down to the 9 hole, it's a tough matchup for the other team because they can't really use their bullpen super effectively. Mm-hmm. It's allowed some guys to kind of maybe slide into slots that they really are comfortable in. Hitting fourth is tough. It's always been a magnet spot in the order where people kind of focus on you and try to keep you from impacting the game. The way he can cover Jake really makes Jake better. Mendham can cover Griff. It gives Griff pitches to hit. Nolan can cover David and keeps David in the flow. And Marcus has done a really nice job covering Nolan because Marcus's contact rates are high and his base hits and quality at bat level is high. And then allows us down there in the 8-9 hole to match up, depending on who's in the lineup that day, and get productive offense in the 8-9 hole that partners well as it goes back to the top of the order. So, yeah, each guy brings something to the lineup. There's no doubt. And Griff's presence is big because it's right-handed power, and it's power that changes the game. He flips a game in Morgantown with an early homer there. The homer Sunday obviously turned the board. He hits homers that seem to matter. I mean, he really does. They seem to show up at times when it changes the game. So the team is only as good as what it is with all of them in there. And when you take one out, people had to pick up the slack with him being out. And now that he's back in there, I think it relaxes some guys and puts them all in a place to be successful. And it's a good spot for him.
You referenced Nolan Mclean in the lineup. Nolan Mclean out of the bullpen saved 2 of the 3 Texas games and is obviously taking on the role as the closer. Looking at things bullpen-wise, relief pitching-wise, do you feel like you're getting closer to a point where, after some injuries and some changing of roles, where you're getting comfortable with, okay, these are the roles as we see them moving down the road? Because do you see, are you getting closer to that? Because you've dealt with some injuries and such.
Well, I think Nolan closing games in the last 2 or 3 weeks has been a natural progression, something we envisioned for him really in the fall. It was just kind of getting to that point. It took some time. And Trevor did such a good job in the first 25 games of being able to take on that role right away, whereas a two-way player at the start of the season, we hadn't really gotten Nolan conditioned for that just yet. Trevor did such a good job that we didn't get pressed into having to force Nolan into that role. I think we have multiple options now. I like where Trevor's development has gone since he's been able to get out of pitching just the ninth inning and being able to pitch innings at different stages of the game, whether it's been a couple of the starts he's had or some of the long relief outings. Those have been good for him. He definitely can still get the last out if we need him to. He's got good experience in doing it. But I think with Nolan displaying some dominant presence at the end of a game, and Houston now, Huey Morrill being able to provide another really good option to go along with the good work that's been done down there already by guys like Kale and, Baden Root, Trevor, and then you add just the remarkable consistency that Roman's provided. Mm-hmm. We have a good nucleus of guys in our bullpen. I'd like to get one of those lefties really going down there to have another, weapon as far as a left-hander goes that could really, match up on a left-hand hitter. But I like the fact that there's more options than there were early in the season. It's going to be really important as we navigate the challenging remainder of our schedule. But I like Nolan late. I think he has shown a calmness late in the game, but also an overpowering arsenal of pitches that is tough to get put into play. The opponent struggles to handle some of his pitches. And when you're protecting 1- and 2-run leads, you want pitches going to home plate that are hard to put in play. Sure. You don't want to give them a chance to bleed a single, and then maybe catch a ball clean on the barrel and hit a homer. Next thing you know, that lead is gone. So I like where Nolan's at. I like what Huey's bringing to the pen, and I like where those other guys are at. Bullpens are a little bit streaky sometimes. You can get an early season run where they're really efficient and locked in, and then a little fatigue and a little bit of usage can kick in, and guys might start to show some middle of the season fatigue. But I think our guys are in a good spot to really finish the season strong. I really do. I feel good about where the bullpen's at.
So this weekend, a team coming to town that probably has flown under the radar for the average fan, you could argue as much as probably any team in the country, Southeast Missouri, who is top 50 in the RPI. I think they stand at number 47. They've had some good wins. Give us your take on them. Most people would see that on the schedule and say, well, it's your off-conference weekend. You've scheduled 3 automatic wins. Oh, you take a look at Southeast Missouri, that does not appear to be the case at all.
No, it's not the case, and that's why most people, they don't take the deep dive into this that you and I do, because this is what I do for a living. But I think what you have to do is, if you just put their resume side by side, a blank resume, and said, who is this? You could mistaken them for Texas Tech. You could mistaken them for a lot of good teams because their body of work is the same in terms of their RPI, their wins, their quality wins. So don't let the directional component of where they're from make you think they're any lesser of a team, because I assure you they're not. They have a lot of good transfers. They're well coached. Their coach has been in the middle of big programs. Andy Sawyers has coached at Nebraska, Kansas State, Texas A&M, so he's very well traveled. They're a good team. They're playing really good baseball. They can hit. They can pitch. They've won a lot of games. They're confident. I mean, they're coming in here, and really, you wouldn't want to play a non-conference series against an opponent that's not going to bring something to, one, the competition, and two, the body of work. So they're going to be a great challenge for us. We're not good enough to ever show up and win. We have to show up and play well. Our players know that. I tell them that every single day. We don't ever think we're going to roll out there, because we're going to get everybody's best effort. Mm-hmm. And when they come into our stadium, they're up to play. They're excited to play. They love the environment. They feel energized by O'Brate Stadium, and they feel inspired by playing a team that's has a profile behind it. So they're going to come give us everything they have. We'll have to be ready to play, but I wouldn't have it any other way. We will be ready to play, but that's just the fun in it. But again, the Big 12 has the limitation of just having a small number of teams that play baseball. So we don't get the 30 conference games. We only get 24 of them. So The other 6 games, you got to make sure you're scheduling teams that do you good. And Southeast Missouri State with a top 50 RPI really does a great job of filling the void of, those 6 Big 12 games that we don't play compared to the SEC and ACC, of giving us a really high-end opponent. So I like the fact that they're a good ball club.
Stay with us. The Cowgirls have a huge series. The conference on the line as OSU battles OU in Bedlam, and Kenny Gajewski and Casey Kendrick break that down when we come back.
Hello, sweet babies. Welcome to your new home. You have changed our life, and you may even change the world. And because of you, 2021 is the best year ever. Mercy has helped moms deliver babies for nearly 200 years. To find out how to welcome your baby at Mercy, visit mercy.net/OSUmom.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, bikes for the whole family are just a click away. Buy online at academy.com with our free in-store assembly. Your next set of wheels, plus helmets, pads, and water bottles will be waiting for you at our in-store pickup counter. Get to the fun faster with our in-store pickup and free assembly at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back to the Orange Power Podcast. We got a lot of fun things to talk about today. The Oklahoma State Cowgirls getting ready for Bedlam, the final regular season series of the year. And let's bring in Coach Kenny G. And Coach, man, it's exciting. Obviously, it is Bedlam. Many of us raced here in our minds long ago because we thought this would be the conference decision maker. And you've said slow down and enjoy the process. And you guys have done a great job of that, but it's finally here.
It is, and talk about slowing down and enjoying the process. Like you were on vacation for a whole week. Like that is actually slowing down and enjoying the process. You get to walk right back here and get ready for Bedlam. So I'm glad you had a good fishing trip, and I'm glad you're in one piece. So,
well, and here's the thing. I'm going to be fishing for some answers here in just a minute, too. So we'll see if we can get those. Bedlam, Coach, it's not, it is, I guess, in essence, the most important series for a lot of reasons. But it's only wins and losses like every other series. But this one wraps up the regular season. It does determine the champion. Recruiting is always a big part of this. Your RPI is on the line. It is a high-dollar ticket. It is it's the excitement of the state is surrounding this series. I mean, all of that build-up to say that's what makes this so much fun.
It sounds a lot like rat poison. That's what it sounds like. It is inside our doors. It is the most important series of the whole year because it's the one we're playing right now. And that's the honest truth. I know for our fans and for people outside and national perception, it is all of that. And I'm not going to act like it doesn't matter to us. It really does. But as far as coaching 18 to 22-year-old kids, young ladies, some women that have turned into women in their time here, the idea for us as coaches is just to make sure that they understand it's the most important game of the year, the first game, because it's the next game. And every game is important in this conference, on this schedule, if you want to achieve what you want to achieve. So we are, I can tell that there's a little different sense of urgency. I can feel a different look in some eyes. I'm a believer that you probably can't sustain this look the whole year. There are certain moments that you have to be able to go to and pull from, and this is one of those that we're about to embark on. But in the same sense, I don't want to make our girls feel anything other than it's just another game. We're still playing softball. We still have nothing that they want. They have everything that we want. So we have to go take it. And if we have that mentality and we play well, we'll win.
Well, and that was the mindset change early on. And we talked a lot about that is, hey, we haven't done anything. We still all of that's still in front of us. Just quit acting like the hunted. Let's go continue to our goals. And what I love too is the fact that when you come into this week, it would be obvious to say the hay's in the barn. Let's just have a few good practices and let's go. That's not the approach. And obviously, when your kids help drive that ship because they know the emotion of this, and you don't even have to say anything, then turn it around and go, okay, we're working on this detail. This part of your swing's still not right. Still got to make sure your footwork's right here. Pitching. I mean, it's not as if, okay, it's all done, let's go. It's still a grind going into this last series.
Yeah, this is the crazy part of our year. It's what we've been waiting for, and the end. You know, I mean, we want to rush through the other things. We want to get to let's find out what the end is. I think that's a normal human nature thing, but the grind is what's so much fun. The grind is what I tend to remember. The grind is what we're going through right now, and so our girls are in that. I think there's an appreciation for that because not everybody's in this grind. There's only a handful of teams right now that are in this grind, and that will be in that grind for the next 4 to 5 weeks. And so we don't take it for granted, but we also know it's well earned. And so I'm glad we're one of those teams.
So mindset is always so huge at this point, whether we're talking about, again, postseason or we're talking about the Bedlam series. And when you lose, you know, I thought Allie McCutcheon said this really well during our broadcast. Maxwell and Ellish were not a 1-2 punch. They were a double punch. It didn't matter who started. It wasn't like, okay, we got somebody else that's pretty good too. They were both great. But you lose a kid of that caliber. Her desire to be on the field, to fight through extreme adversity, and going to still contribute in any way she can, and we still don't know the answer to that fully. But that's got to help the other teammates, because there's no way you don't feel a little air come out of the balloon if you're going, oh, you're kidding me. We just lost one of our primary kids. But then for her to fight her way back through has got to get everybody back in a great mindset. So it would seem to me that air inflated the balloon quickly again because of her determination and what she's continuing to do. Yeah,
she's somebody that I think steers our ship in a way. You know, Kelly Maxwell is in the back, kind of. She's actually driving, and she's making sure that everybody's under control. Ellish is out in front, screaming and hollering and intimidating and telling you this is what we're about to do, and Kelly's back there cleaning up whatever she's got to clean up. So we still have that double punch, and we haven't lost that. And we have Morgan Day, who I think we forget about, or people forget about outside of us because they haven't seen her as much, but she's not forgettable. She's very good. She's had a very good year. She will pitch well this weekend, and so will Kelly. So, you know, I would think you're dead on. You and I have talked. I think we had a little deflation before Florida State. That didn't affect our games. It didn't. I mean, we got beat. I mean, they just made more plays and played a hair better than we played, and I mean a sliver. It's just what it was, and so credit them. But it was a weird weekend. I mean, as we look back on that, I thought we were kind of they play a weird way. They don't get very excited on their side. We're the other way, and we kind of like fell down to that low level of kind of excitement. And it was weird. I had a hard time getting our kids going. It was weird. I don't know why it was. Huge crowds, and they just sit over there on their, like, it looks like they're sitting in assigned seats in a way. I'm sure they aren't. And again, I have the utmost respect for those guys. They're just do it a different way. And I think, so with everything that we were finding out about Ellish and then going through all that, it was a good experience. And I'm glad it happened then. Because it really taught us. It really showed us you have to continue to learn through the season. You can't just think that your way is the only way to be successful. You have to be willing to be vulnerable, and you have to be willing to change and adjust. And we're a program that's constantly doing that. I'm not afraid of that. Our girls may not always like it, but I know they like what's on the other end of that.
Well, and a couple of 2-1 losses to the top 4 team in the country. A 9-inning affair. I mean, as you said, just a sliver difference. What was the takeaway from that series?
That we're really good. I think the national perception from people I heard about was like, wow, like you guys are really good. And I'm like, yeah, I knew that. Like, I don't know why you guys didn't know that. But I think when you looked at, perception is what the polls are. That's perception. It's not reality. I don't know that the polls always have it right. Okay. People still vote. I'm a voter in a couple of those polls. I take it very seriously. I have some weird votes. They're never what the polls are because I go on what I see, not on what I perceive. But the perception across the country was we must be good because we didn't drop by losing 2 games. Whatever their perception is, I think we're one of the top 5 or 6 teams. But we've got to go play like that and win games.
And so, obviously, RPI continues to take care of itself. Still trying to be a national seed, to be able to be a super regional host as well. And this weekend to go a long ways in help determining that. ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, the great thing about this series is so many other things, is it will allow you guys to put a national showcase together. This isn't some regional broadcast. This isn't local. This is the national guys coming in. And you guys are going to get a chance to truly showcase So you're talking about perception versus what I'm seeing. They get a chance to see you all week long.
I've been saying this for a week now. We had Michelle Smith and Beth Mullen last week at Florida State as well. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to add in Holly Rowe with everything that she's been up to. That this will be her first weekend back to softball.
Wow.
So to have her there, I've talked to Holly this week, and she brings a different light. She's just the most awesome sideline reporter, and I don't know if that's a correct term, but she's so good, so knowledgeable, and I think cares about this game like very few people do, and so it's really cool. So this will be our 5th game in a row. When this weekend's done, 5 games in a row with the national audience, with the number 1 crew, and it's a commercial for OSU softball, OSU athletics, or Oklahoma State University, and OU, and the same thing for them as well. And I can't think of a better way to have it. I'm excited, and I'm sure our girls are too.
So let's talk about the matchup itself. Obviously, they've got pitchers that are very good. They've got hitters that are very good. They're sprinkled throughout the top 10 in almost every statistical category. Your schedule has been brutal. I mean, it has. You have prepared yourself for not for Oklahoma, but for postseason, but for Oklahoma in essence as well. This won't be a shock. This won't be. Again, you're still laying in wait for them. How does this play out? How do you beat this team?
We get 2-out hits. That's number 1. We're going to have to. The team that hits with 2 outs, I think, will win this series. You must pitch. I don't think. I think runs will be scored. I'm not sure that there'll be a ton of runs. But I think runs will be scored. And then just making plays. I think that because of the team that can weather the storm, because there will be storms on both ends. Last year we learned how to get punched. We didn't learn how to get punched. We had been being punched by OU. We had not learned yet how to stand up and fight back, and we did that. And we cracked that deal. We finally looked at that and go, okay, we can do this. We're not beating OU. We're trying to win a softball game, and that's been the message, the reminder. This isn't something that we've never done now under our time. We've done this, okay? So now it's taking it. You got to go take it. You got to be willing to get close so you can get punched. And then get up and punch back. And even though your eyes are watering and all that kind of stuff, you just got to go. And then we showed it in that second game. When we were down 6, I think, and then came back and tied it up, and then went down and then tied it up, and then eventually lost a really, really good softball game. I think it's really the game that, people look at the game that we won, that I think people really were like, oh, wow, Oklahoma State. Even our fans here, like, this was fun. Like, it was an event. That second game, when we went down, we could have had a lot of people who said, dang it, well, at least we won one. And they didn't, and they got to see us come back. And I think it was better than the first game, to be very, very honest. Even though we didn't win, I think they had an appreciation for our girls and their fight. And then the third game was a close game. It was just a wild, wild weekend. So the game plan is to be the best version of us. We got to be clutch, and we got to be able to make plays like we've done all year long.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, the Big 12 on the line, national seed on the line. It's going to be a great weekend. Enjoy it. If you can afford a ticket, get down there because it is a high-dollar ticket, which is awesome. Coach, always appreciate it. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next week about the Big 12. Again, coming up, ESPN Thursday night at 7, ESPN 2, 6 o'clock on Friday. And that series will wrap up on Saturday, ESPNU at 4 o'clock. Let's take a break. Regional time in Stillwater for women's tennis. We'll talk to Chris Young, the head man for the Cowgirls, coming up after this.
At OG&E, the energy we deliver is more than electrical. We energize the future by balancing our efforts to provide the lowest rates possible with our responsibility to protect the environment for future generations. That's why we've strengthened our power grid through new technologies, leading to a 40% reduction in CO2 emissions, which, when combined with our rates, makes us an industry leader. Because at OG&E, we do more than energize a power grid. At OG&E, we energize life.
Decorative towel.
There was a mess. I wiped up a mess.
Yeah, you... Where is the box? Never mind, I found it.
Welcome back, football fans. We'll see you in the fridge.
Welcome back to the Orange Power Podcast. We go from the Diamond Sports to the Tennis Center. Joining us now is Chris Young, head coach for the Oklahoma State Cowgirl women's tennis team. Coach, good to have you with us on the show.
I'm glad to be here.
So let's talk about the season. Obviously, we want to talk regionals and where you guys are and help get some people to the Greenwood Tennis Center. But this season, let's for people who are kind of trying to get caught up on women's tennis, how's this season gone? What's it look like for you guys?
You know, I think it's been a really good season for us. I think it's really more about what we expect around here and the type of season that we want to have, and that's competing for championships and always being in the hunt nationally. And I think from the very first match, we've been able to do that. We got off to a good start. We beat a Princeton team who was a top 15 preseason nationally ranked team. And then just from there, really, the ball just kept rolling. Got a good win over a USC team. It was top 10 at the time at home, and I think that gave the girls a lot of confidence. We went down to the Blue-Gray tournament in Montgomery, Alabama, and won that tournament, defeated Wake Forest and Furman, who at the time both were top 25 teams. And then you know, really throughout the Big 12 play, went 7-2, lost really heartbreaker to Oklahoma, 4-3 at home, and they're 2 in the country. Lost to Texas in a close match, 4 in the country. Our only losses were to, you know, teams inside the top 10 for the majority of the season. So we finished up 18-5, majority of the season ranked in the top 10, as high as 7, most of the time between 7 and 10. Always ranked in the top 15 once February hit. So been kind of right in that area where you're right there knocking on the door, putting yourself in a good position to obviously do what we're doing this weekend, and that's to host the first and second rounds. And, you know, our last home match, we won our 100th at the Greenwood Tennis Center. So since 2014 when we opened, we've had 100 wins to 14 losses.
Wow.
So, you know, we're winning 90% of the time at home, and that's what you want to do in the postseason is give yourself a chance to play as many matches at home. We have a really good fan base that we're expecting to be out in full force this weekend. I think our Oklahoma and Pepperdine matches, the last 2 matches that we had at home, really good crowd support, I think really made a difference in the outcomes of those matches, and that's what we want this weekend.
Got to go back to that weekend. You and I have talked a lot. We dissected that Pepperdine win down to the points over and over, and obviously won't go through every bit of it again, but you came off that extremely emotional loss to Oklahoma, and again, just as Kenny Gajewski was saying sliver of difference between his team and Florida State. That's what it was, a point here, a point there. It really was a difference. But somehow, after losing, and again, the Big 12 championship was on the line. I mean, it was a hugely emotional match. You guys get ready for the number 5 team of the country. And that thing, I said to you, I don't think I've seen a more emotional / interesting / intriguing, all of those things combined event on our campus before. It went back and forth. It was huge swing after huge swing. And it came down to the number 6 singles, and everybody converged there on a cold day. The atmosphere was incredible. It was one of the most exciting events I'd ever seen on our campus.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and for me it was as well one of the most exciting matches that I've had in 20 years as a head coach. And you know, we lost a difficult match the night before when the Big 12 trophy was literally sitting right outside the court, and had opportunity to capitalize on that. We had number 1 singles up a set in 5-3, and then coming back up 4-1 in the third set, and just not able to close that out. And so really emotional, you know, from your top player and everyone involved, and to turn around less than 24 hours and you play Pepperdine, who made the NCAA finals the year before. Going into this season, I thought they were the best team in the country. We played them in January at an individual tournament in Las Vegas and came away just very impressed, thinking that's going to be the team that has the best chance to win it all. And so now you have them at home less than 24 hours after, you know, an emotional loss. How do you turn it around? And, you know, just spent a lot of time talking to the team about their response, and then also about the fact that these 2 matches are going to be similar to what you're going to have in the NCAA tournament, being able to have to go back-to-back days against quality teams. And so we've prepared for it. We've trained hard. We've worked hard. And if you believe and you trust in your hard work and everything that you've done, now's the time to put it to the test. And, you know, came out and won a really good doubles point. We actually mixed up our doubles at 2 and 3 and kind of made some changes, and that really worked well. The girls responded. And then Lisa Marie playing her senior day at number 1 singles, playing a girl that is an All-American from Japan, that she's played many times before and been able to win this time. And it comes down to Alana Wolfberg at 6 singles, who, you know, played number 2 for us last year, has been out most of the year with hand surgery, got her shot to get back in the lineup for only her 3rd match of the season, and pulls it out 7-6 in the 3rd set in a tiebreaker. Couldn't have been any more dramatic, as you said, and fortunately we came out on the winning end.
It was just incredible, back and forth. And, of course, Alana was facing a foe that
That's
she was
right.
very, you know, and you were telling me this. I didn't know this until after the match, but, you know, several of those kids had competed several times against other kids on that Pepperdine team, sometimes to their benefit. Sometimes they hadn't had a lot of success. So all of that factored in, and it was a great way to end the regular season.
It really was. It gave our girls a lot of confidence, and then we went into the Big 12 tournament and won another tough 4-3 match against Texas Tech in the first round. So our girls have been battle-tested. You know, I think the Big 12 was as strong of a league this year as it's been. 7 teams made the tournament, 3 are regional site hosts. So as we go into this weekend, I feel like the girls are prepared for whatever's going to come at them. I think we got the strongest, or one of the 2 strongest regionals that are out there. So we didn't get any favors thrown our way, but we feel confident and prepared in the hard work and the training that we've done. And as I told the team, this point in the season is the reward for your hard work, the reward for a successful season. And the reward is you get to play at home in front of your own fans. And it's going to be difficult matches, and that's what you expect, and that's what you want this time of the year. But 6 years ago, we were a 12 seed and made the NCAA finals. So I like our chances as a 12 seed again this year.
Well, and again, pressure is a privilege, right? I mean, and that's because that's what this program has done, is created expectations, and that pressure is there. And, you know, so before we talk about this weekend, you win Pepperdine, go into the Big 12 tournament, as you mentioned, got 1, lost to Texas. But there was almost an exhale of, man, we went through such an emotional roller coaster. Let's just get through it. Let's get healthy. Now let's get back to work, and let's get ready to go again. And that, I don't know if that's fair or not, but that seems to be kind of where you guys are right now. Work's been doing the work again. Now let's get going again.
No, I think you're exactly right. We had a week off. You know, it's been 2 weeks since we've played last. So that time was just really good for us physically and emotionally, mentally. right now the girls are going through finals week. There's just a lot on their plate. So to be able to step back, step away, do some things to recover and work on their bodies being as fresh and ready to go as possible. 18-5 is a good regular season, but now it's time to focus on the postseason.
So give me the status of the health of the team.
I think right now we're as healthy as we've been this season. I think it was very, very good to be able to have this break, and I think everybody is full go and ready for this weekend.
So let's talk about the weekend. Obviously, UCLA, Arkansas in here. They'll be the first match on Saturday. You guys will start with New Mexico State Saturday at 4 o'clock inside the Michael and Greenwood Tennis Center. And it's an awesome opportunity and an opponent that you'll be favored in, but I know you won't take them lightly.
No, New Mexico State, is playing their best of this season. They've won all their matches in their tournament 4-0. So, you got to respect every opponent and come into it. The NCAA tournament, everybody's here for a reason. Everybody deserved it. Everybody qualified. So, you want to respect that opponent, and it's exciting to be able to have the teams that are coming in here. For us, hosting a team like UCLA, who's, considered one of the top historic programs in the country, it shows how hard it is to be a regional site host. I think it gives some attention to this regional, the fact that a school like that is traveling for the first weekend, and they're traveling here. I think that shows where our program is. Arkansas is a team that we traditionally get a lot of times this time of the year to come here. I think they're a very talented team, very strong across the board in doubles. And so I think that's going to be a great first-round match. And if we're fortunate enough to get past New Mexico State, we'll have to be ready for the winner of that on Sunday.
Talk to me about doubles point. Obviously, every match doubles point is important, and it just makes the challenge a little easier. But in postseason, how crucial is the doubles point?
I think it's really important because when you get to this time of the year, every team is really good, and so every point is important, but there's a little bit of a mental edge that you have going into singles, knowing you have a 1-0 lead. I think we've done a good job this year on the matches where we've lost the doubles point, being able to come out. I think we're very strong singles 1 through 6, and so the times where we've lost the doubles point, I think we've been able to reset. But I think that doubles point is so important. And it's really about how you frame it to your team. You can frame it almost as being too important. And if you were to lose it, then the team feels like, we don't have a chance. But you want to frame it in a way. I think it's a mentality. When you go into doubles this time of the year, you need to be aggressive. You need to be confident. And I think it sets the tone for the match. Not to say you can't recover from it because it happens quite often, but it is really important. And winning 4 out of the 6 singles matches is tough to do against a quality opponent.
New Mexico State, what's their strength?
For them, I think that their strength has been kind of in the middle of their lineup in singles. Everybody has a good 1-2, so I think they're going to be strong there. But if you look at the records and kind of what their history has been this last month or so this season, they're doing a really good job in the middle of the lineup.
Of the 114 matches inside the Greenwood Tennis Center, has UCLA ever been here?
They have.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we played UCLA a few times. We actually played them in the National Indoor Championship we hosted. We've played them inside once or twice. It's kind of interesting with UCLA. We've had a home-and-home series, and we've won at their place, and they've won here. So they've probably, won a few more times than we would have liked to them here. We've been able to be fortunate to win out there. So now is the time for us to get them at home when it counts.
Saturday, 4 o'clock. Again, the timing of that, everybody needs to get out there. But this is a great chance to talk about what the Greenwood Tennis Center means when it's packed. First off, the facility itself has provided great opportunities. You don't go 114 and it not be a great facility. But when the fans are there, and this is when it matters most, that place is it's just like every venue, it's just different.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that our program is known for, that anytime a team comes here to play, that's what they leave knowing, is that our fans are some of the most loud and supportive fans in college tennis, and it gives us an advantage big time. And it's just trying to get people out one time. The people that come, they come back because there's so much action. People, I think, a lot of times think it's tennis. I'm going to sit there. I can't really get involved. I'm just going to have to sit there and watch. No, we want you cheering after every point. We want you involved. We want you, yelling out the girls' names and supporting them, and they hear it. You know, the thing is, when you get involved as a fan at a tennis match, they're going to hear it because you're right on top of the action. And so, you know, it's not like some other sports where you may be cheering out your support for, you know, the players. They're not going to know that you're there. You know, our girls, coaches, everybody involved knows that you're there. We appreciate you're there. You make an impact on the girls. You give them that extra encouragement and energy, and it makes a difference. It makes it hard for the opponents to play when their opponents constantly being encouraged and supported. And, you know, that's what we want. We want our fans to do it the right way. But there's 6 singles matches going, and they're all at different points, and it's pretty exciting. So for someone who likes a lot of action, this is the place to be this weekend.
Loved Alana, going back to the Pepperdine. Alana said after everybody else had wrapped up, she looked up, everybody's coming her way, and she goes, "Welcome to court number 6.
Yeah.
It was obviously a great deal. Yeah, you hear 60,000 in a football stadium, it's a roar, it's a hum. At your facility, it's individuals, and it truly does make a difference. So that will be a huge part of, hopefully, the success. Win Saturday at 4, you'll take on the winner of UCLA, Arkansas, Sunday at 2 o'clock. So chance, you know, baseball, our Cowgirls are on the road, so it's a chance to get out there and really support you guys.
Yeah, we tried to, you know, bounce it around off the schedules for this weekend. We're hoping to start at 4. Baseball, I know, is at 6, so hopefully people can come before the baseball game on Saturday night, and then baseball starts at 1 o'clock on Sunday. We're at 2 o'clock, so go support them for a little bit, but get on over. And, you know, this will mean a lot to us, being able to advance the Sweet 16. This is the 7 of the last 8 years we've hosted a regional, and we've gotten out every year but one. So this is important to keep advancing, and we have an opportunity with Super Regional, if things go well, that we could stay here. So it's important to get these 2 wins and then figure out what's next.
Absolutely. It's been an incredible run. Again, it's awesome to see where the program's at, and wish you guys the best this weekend. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate it, and look forward to seeing our fans this weekend as well.
There you go. Saturday, 4 o'clock at the Greenwood Tennis Center. We want to say thanks to Josh Holliday. Want to say thanks to Kitty Gajewski and, of course, Chris Young. For Dave Hunziker, I'm Casey Kendrick. We'll see you guys next time on the Orange Power Podcast.